then you're probably thinking, Jess, this is not 11 o'clock, it's 10 a.m. Well, a certain Welshman has got some more important duties that are more important than one of it seems. So we had to move it to 10 a.m. Speaking of Welshman, here's Colin Armaton. How you doing?
I'm very well, Jess. Morning all. Yes, you can blame me for the 10 a.m. stream. My wife and I are going out for a nice Sunday dinner, so we have to leave a little earlier than planned normally. But yeah, like Jess said, we do now have drivers taking some car wear penalties. So these will obviously be applied after the lobby restart when we go back into the lobby after qualifying.
Yep, so we will obviously be telling you who is got those penalties so you can have a close eye on your rivals. And I'll give you a clue. Every tier has got at least one person taking the car wear part. So, you know, it's not like that no one has got car wear penalties this week. At least one tier has got at least one person doing it. So, a little bit of a suspense there. But this week, as I was saying, Australian Grand Prix. Both of us love this circuit, and if when I spin the wheel, it rains in the race, I'm going to cry. So is Colin. But it's always a fun track to drive, isn't it?
It is, and in all fairness, it's a fun track in the rain as well. It's just that I think this is probably going to be my best circuit on the calendar, so I want to maximise the result, so I'm hoping that it's going to be dry, fingers crossed.
I'm seeing quite a few people in the chat that are saying, I know Quinn wants a bit of rain, and I think quite a few people want a bit of rain as well.
I'm going to punch you if it's rain.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a wet qualifying. That'll be kind of fun. Because we haven't had any wet affected sessions. So it'll be nice just to get one of the wet affected sessions out the way in qualifying and just have a wet to dry qualifying. But anyway, enough about that. We're going to have to wait for the adaptive weather till the end of the stream. So you're going to have to wait about 45, 50 minutes, unfortunately. But if you're wondering how to take this track very, very nicely, here is a hot lap, not by your usual suspect this time. We've got one from Kevin, and it is commentated by Mr. Mike Edwards. Enjoy.
Round number 3 of the Delta.app One Hub racing season takes us to the land down under for the Australian Grand Prix here at Albert Park. This lap is sponsored by Sim Racing Setups, running down in towards turn number 1 with DRS wide open, cutting a little bit of the inside curb through 1 and carrying the momentum through turn 2 with DRS wide open once again as we head down for the braking at turn 3. Very easy to lock up the tyre and lose traction coming through turn 3. Now through turn number 4, keeping it nice and smooth through turns number 5, making sure you don't run too far wide onto that exit curb as we go through turn 6 and 7, using as much of the curb as you can through turn 7. Now through turn number 8 with DRS wide open, and it will be the scene of plenty of overtaking opportunities, running down now into the fast left right at turns 9 and 10. Very crucial to get these corners correct because you can lose the back end coming through turn 10. DRS wide open once again, heading to the braking for turn number 11. Very important to make sure you get your braking and the car rotated through 11. Now through turns 12, making sure you don't run too far wide in towards turn number 13 and through the final corner. And that has been a lap of Albert Park here.
So that was a hot lap around the Australian Grand Prix. And if you're interested in getting a Australian setup, then you could go on to Sim Racing Setups, one of our sponsors. You can get 5% off by using the code OneHubRacing at checkout. I've been using one of their setups, their esports setups around here. And to be honest, it's absolutely amazing. So I would recommend you give it a go. And you know what? Try and get it. And I've got some vouchers from Sim Racing Setups because I won Driver of the Day. So there we go. So I could use it ready for the F1 26 DLC that comes out. But speaking of Australia, we've got some lineups to talk about and some predictions to make. We've got 2 drivers that we're going to speak to in the pre-race talk show. We've got Ivan from P4 if he's around. And then we've got Quinn in P3. So those 2 we're going to speak to. But first of all, let's talk about P4. And as those of you have probably noticed, if you're not looking at the Discord or anything, well, some of you may not because you're not in P4, we realised after the Austria race when watching both P4 and P3, a certain driver, F1 Addict, was too quick for that tier. So we decided that it was the best decision to move to P3. He was not happy about it. He was throwing a paddy, so he quit the league. So that's why there's a space in the P4 tier. So if you are interested in racing in P4, then give us a message. Sign up, and then do a lap around Spain and see if you can compete with these guys. But yes, everyone at it was too quick in this tier, which means, Cole, I have no idea who's going to do well. I have some suspicions, but we are definitely going to have a different winner tonight.
Yeah, of course, Addict won the first 2 races, so just for a bit of context, the reason why we did move him is that he actually had a shorter race time than P3.
He would have won.
So not only would he have won P4, he would have won P3 as well. So we explained the situation, and unfortunately he did leave. But that does open this championship up quite considerably now. So Shiesty, who finished second to F1 Addict last week, will be very, very keen to try and get his first win of the season.
And first win ever.
And first win ever. So there's very, very few points between the drivers now. Shiesty on 29 points, Jack on 26, Jake on 25, Jay Flats on 18, Gamer James on 15, and Jamie on 14. So it is very, very close. But I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions for this race.
Oh, okay. Without me giving my thoughts on certain drivers. Okay, well, carry on, Carl.
Oh, no, go on. No, off you go. No, that's true. Yeah, you go first.
Honestly, I have to say, looking at the lineup, Shiesty, honestly, the last few races did very well. Without that bottle in Spain towards the end, he would have got a definite podium. So my 2 McLarens are the ones to look out for. I have to say, both of the Mercedes drivers, that they are something to watch out for. Jack Craig finished 4th last week, so he got a P3 in Spain and a P4 in Austria, so he's someone to watch out for. Joel Flats as well was looking quite good in both races. Same with Crawford, and Gamer James surprises as well. Last week he avoided all the chaos and he finished in quite a good position. Yes, he got a points deduction, but still some very good points to his name, and he ended up getting driver of the day in this tier as well. So well done to him. His first driver of the day in One Hub, and he gets a voucher. Well, how about that? So, Colin, I've had my views. What is your predictions for pole and top 3?
Well, I'm actually going to go with a Jamie pole position.
Okay.
That's my punt. So I think Jamie and the McLaren will get pole position. Regarding the top 3 in the race, I think Shiesty's going to take his maiden One Hub victory. I'm going to think then that Jack is going to get second. And I think Jay Flats will get third and get 2 podiums in a row.
Ooh, okay. That is interesting. Now, let us know your predictions in the chat, guys, on who you think is going to be doing well in the P4 tier. But I'm going to say mine. I'm going to go with a different pole position. I'm going to go with Jamie's teammate of Shiesty. I think Shiesty's going to get pole position this evening. And I'm going to predict that Joe is going to take the win. Shiesty's going to get second. And Jack Cray's going to get third. So that is my predictions there. And of course, I almost forgot who's going to take engine or gearbox penalties, so we're not taking that into account. So it could completely change when we reveal the gearbox and engine penalties later on. But those are your predictions. Those are my predictions. There are going to be quite a few people that are going to be close, like Jake, for example, Okan, Night Clear. If he doesn't make the mistakes like he did last week, he's going to be up there. There are plenty of drivers making a comeback after missing last week. It's going to be... I think it's going to be good. Of course, this is one of the first weeks in a while where I haven't seen any of the other drivers practice. So this is the first week where I have no idea how any of the drivers are going to do because I haven't seen them on track myself. I've just done my own practice and that was it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Same as myself as well. I'm only going by what I've seen on the TT times. So it's very, very difficult to judge. And of course, if it's raining, that's going to throw another spanner in the works. Some drivers are better than others in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, Austria is actually quite a fun track in the rain, but me in the rain in general on this game is an absolute nightmare. So I think this is gonna the ones with the most experience could potentially do very well here. So I'm just seeing who else has just said any predictions. No one has got any predictions at the moment. So if this driver is ready to go into the rating room, hopefully we can bring our first driver into the booth to have a little chat with us. Of course, he's a fellow commentator as well. He missed last week. He couldn't make it, unfortunately. So Ivan, if you're in the chat, go into the rating room and we will drag you in ASAP. And speaking of Ivan, there he is. So welcome, Ivan. Can you hear us? You're on mute if you're trying to speak, mate.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Ivan. Now, first of all, your first ever season at One Hub Racing. Of course, you've only raced in Spain because you missed last week. How are you finding it so far?
I mean, yeah, as you said, my first season, and Spain, I mean, it was 50-50 race, in my opinion. Qualifying, that was completely, that's complete mess. And I feel like I can fight, I can be competitive, but I just need to get sort some things out. Like in Spain, the problem was the setup, but tires were overheating like crazy, and then in the race I just caught up in few incidents, not on my own fault, but my goal is just to try to improve as the season goes by.
Yeah, that is a good point, actually. Yeah, I could see you were struggling a little bit in Spain, which is a bit unfortunate, but at least you were able to gain some experience. Of course, you've got a new teammate now, which is one thing I forgot to mention. Well, you will have a new teammate. Hopefully, we will get someone joining it if you haven't already. Obviously, it's a shame that your old teammate has gone, but with you being by yourself for a bit, how are you going to approach this? Because obviously you're going to have an advantage because you don't have to worry about double stacking. You can pick when you want.
I mean, yeah, certainly that can be an advantage, but again, like everything, every medal has has two sides. I have some advantages, but then again, I have some disadvantages in Constructors Championship compared to the teams that have a full lineup. But whatever happens, I'll adjust. I'll try to do my best. And obviously, I wasn't happiest either when my teammate had to move up. But again, I understand better than anyone how is to feel, how the feeling is when you're practicing a lot for some races, and then all of a sudden someone just drops 5/10 on your head. Like it's absolutely nothing. So again, I understand that decision completely. And like I said, what happens. I'll just try to adjust, because as a racing driver, no matter real life or sim, you have to have that ability too.
Yep, you have to have an ability to adapt and learn how to do well. Of course, Australia is the track we're going to be racing at tonight. Of course, I haven't seen you practice much this week, but I know you've been putting in the hours. How are you feeling ahead of this evening? Well, this afternoon for P4.
Well, I'm prepared for everything, but expecting nothing.
I think that's a good expectation. I think you're prepared, but you're expecting nothing. Some 9 times out of 10, for those that are expecting nothing, probably do a lot better for those that expect something. So there we go. Colin, do you have any questions for our P4 driver stroke P2 commentator?
Morning, Ivan. How are you?
Morning, really well. Thanks for asking.
So obviously now you had a nice 12th place around Spain. Things didn't go your way, but you did get off the board. What's your target for today's race?
My target is quite simple. I'm just trying to improve the result from Spain if possible, and just to, as I'll miss Silverstone too, but I'll just try to improve as the season goes on, just to try to create a momentum to rack up the points, because the season is long, everyone can do mistakes, and then consistency is key, as some F1 driver will say.
Yeah, exactly that. That's very, very good. That's a good target as well for the season. Now, are you hoping for a dry Australia, or do you want some rain to spice it up a bit?
Generally in no, outside of sim racing, speaking on going to university football, F1, I have no hopes. I just adjust and improvise. Whatever
Love
happens,
it.
happens. If it so basically that's just a typical college student way of thinking. I think that, but just that follows me through completely through my life. And what happens. I'll just try to adjust. If I need to improvise, I'll improvise, and we'll see what happens.
Nice one. Yeah, that's a good mental position to go into, I think. Obviously, you've been commentating in P2 as well. Has that helped you watch the drivers and learn off them?
I mean, I don't watch much, because even if I did, because I think this is just my limit, and I can't improve much, because these drivers can do things I like that simply I cannot replicate. I just try to be myself, not try to be someone else, and just try to see where that will bring me.
Yes, that's a great attitude, and I think an attitude that would suit a lot of drivers as well. So thank you very, very much for joining, Ivan. Wish you all the best for the P4 race. Everyone, you can tune in at 3 p.m. this afternoon with Liam and Squanch on Twitch, and you can cheer our man Ivan on, and hopefully he can get some more points.
Hashtag T commentator.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, it was great to speak to him. But let's move on to the next tier, which will take place at 4:30, and as you probably noticed, we got some driver changes again, Colin, and we got familiar faces who were in the P3 tier last year. Of course, Max, in the first two races, we realised that he was struggling quite a lot. He was nowhere near the pace. He was pretty much almost getting lapped, and he struggled a little bit. So he's moved to the P3, down to the P3 tier, where I think he'll be a bit better and bit more suited to the tier. And it's also great to have Hockey Knight back in the P3 tier. Of course, he done very well last season in the P3 tier, so I expect him to be right on the pace quite quickly. So he's probably going to be a dark horse potentially. But again, there are certain drivers that have impressed me throughout the season. I'll say my thoughts now before I pass over to Cole again. Of course, we had Adegio, who got his first win of the season last week, which I have to say, well deserved. His tyre saving strategy, really well. His pace at the end was absolutely fantastic. Marshall, I know Marshall might be in the chat, so I must shout out to you, Marshall, getting his first podium on debut, which I have to say it's no easy feat, and I have to say he could be one to watch out for. Brilliant job from him in the Williams, and I think Williams, now with those two pairing, they could be, I think, a threat for the Constructors' Championship, so watch out for those two. And of course, Boney Fish, of course, he won race one, but he wasn't here last week. So I expect him to potentially do well this week as well. Gazza's not going to be here because it's Gazza's birthday. Happy birthday, Gazza! And
happy birthday, Gazza.
Yeah, and Mike was up there as well last week. So those drivers in particular, one to watch out for. But the driver I was particularly impressed with was Marshall picking up his first podium on debut.
Yeah, that was a brilliant drive from him. Really stayed out of trouble, limited the mistakes, and got a great great result in the end. But looking at the championship standings, Welsh Benjamin leads the title currently with a 6-point lead, and he's only been on the podium once. So that just shows how important it is to get that level of consistency. So Adagio in the first race only managed to get 12th, but he won the second race. Benjamin had second at the first round, and then 4th in round 2. And there you could see a 6-point lead, but you could see how close it is. I mean, the top 6 are only covered by 9 points.
And the 3 drivers have got the same amount of points.
Yeah, which is brilliant to see. And Mike there being technically the most consistent driver with Joe as well, with Mike getting 2 5ths and Joe getting 2 6ths. You feel as though it's only a matter of time before Mike gets on that podium.
I know it's early predictions, but I'm predicting it could be tonight. You know, he likes Australia. I think it could be tonight for him. But yeah, I think Joe has been impressing me this season because obviously it's his first season on the wheel, and he's getting top 6 finishes already. Very, very impressed. I mean, I think he is a standout so far, and if it wasn't for that damage he got with Gazza lap 1, I think he would have challenged Deggio for the win, and it would have been in a Deggio and Joe fight for the win. That would have been my opinion, because Joe was looking very quick in qualifying. So in my opinion, it would have been those 2 for the win last week, but it wasn't. Joe finished 6th, but it was a good comeback drive from him.
Yeah, that's the key thing as well. We've seen it through quite a few tiers now. Lukey in round 1 in P1, Joe again here. Drivers not giving up, you know, going, right, okay, the start's been an absolute disaster. Let's just make sure that there's no more mistakes, or, you know, you try and avoid trouble and come back and get a great result. And that is the key thing with these races. You are always going to end up in amongst it, you know, having bad luck, especially at the start with 20 drivers heading into turn 1. But it's all about the mental character of the driver, of whether they can put that behind them and dig deep and just keep going and doing their best. And that's exactly what Joe managed to do. And unfortunately, Gazaman was unlucky last week, where he had a wheel issue. I think he lost all force feedback heading into turn 1.
That is a shame for Gaza. I think he would have been up there as well, wouldn't he? I was absolutely gutted.
Yeah, definitely. Really frustrating.
He's going to have some luck next week. I can feel it. I think he's going to get a really good result next week in Silverstone. And since Gaza's in the chat, everybody, can everyone wish Gaza a happy birthday? Just at him in the chat. Wish him a happy birthday. He's out today because that's why he's not racing tonight. But yeah, everyone, go on. Wish Gaza a happy birthday. But Colin, we got to get a move on because we got quite a few tiers to talk about. So let's get our predictions before we bring our P3 driver in. Pole and your top 3. Go on, Cole.
Pole, I am going to go with Welsh Benjamin.
Oh.
Race win, I am also going Welsh Benjamin.
Oh, wouldn't that be sick, wouldn't it? Oh, that would be good if that happened.
In second place, I'm going a certain Jessica Ball. I think she's going to get a second in a row. And then I'm going to go with Ivor Bryn Mike in third, getting his first podium of the season.
Whoa, interesting. Now, I've been toing and froing on who I think is going to get pole. I think Deggio is going to get his second pole in a row. I think he's got the pace to do well. Will he get the win? No. I think he'll get second. Welsh Benjamin, I think, will take the win, and Ivor Bryn Mike will get third. So that is my top 3. If for those of you that are wondering why I'm not predicting myself, I don't predict myself in the talk show. I always predict other drivers, because if I predict me, I usually get bad luck. So, but you can catch the P3 tier at 4:30 UK with Lawrence in the commentary box. He'll be on his own this week, but next week he'll be joined by someone who can't make this week, but can make from next week onwards. So yeah, Lawrence won't be on his own, but there we go. So I'm just reading the chat right now. Not racing on your birthday, tut. That's just no commitment. Fair enough. But Should we get our next driver in to the commentary box to speak to us, Cole? And I'll let you take
Sounds
this one.
good.
Let's bring
Sounds good.
Let's bring Quinn in. Quinn, can you hear us?
Hello.
There
Hello.
he is. Hiya, Quinn. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Excited for today.
Nice. Now, is Australia a track that you like, or is it near the bottom of your list?
Previous games, it was definitely a track that I disliked, but this game, for some reason, I just click with it, and I'm actually doing quite well in practice.
Nice. You had a nice top 10 last week, which gives you a nice 4 points. How well are you working with my Welsh mate Ivor Bryn?
I'd say, well, we haven't actually been able to go into a chat together because he has some connection issues when he's streaming, but we're working well together. Of course, Jess knows that me and Mike have like connection together with commentating together, so yeah, we just generally work really well together.
Yeah, because you guys, the three of us have known each other for many years now, so we know each other quite well, don't we? So with Mike being up near the front, does that give you some hope that you can get up there with him?
Yeah, it definitely does. Of course, like at the moment, Mike is definitely the faster out of us two, but there's tracks coming up that I favour more. Obviously, like the first two tracks I struggled with in Spain, I struggled with a setup massively, and that just put me down the order. And at Austria, I underfueled, and then there was no safety car, so I was basically having to lift and coast for half the race.
Oh, so
wow,
that's
well, you
why
did very
were
well then to
struggling.
bring that fuel back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think by halfway I only had 0.5 laps of fuel left.
Oh, bit dodgy then.
Yeah.
Now, Quinn, so you're hoping for a wet race?
Yeah, as both of you know, I do love a wet race, of course. Last
do very
season
well.
in Qatar.
Yes,
Last season
of course,
in Qatar was one of the highlights, of course, without my mistakes of speeding into the pit lane, which seems to become a usual occurrence for me.
And McLaren.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, McLaren seem to be collecting pit lane speed penalties at the minute. Sorry, Mike.
Not last week, though.
No, not last week. Now, so when you say a wet race, Quinn, so are you hoping for a dry quali or sod it, go all in and have wet both?
Me personally, I'd rather have wet both because I know that I'm good in.
Quinn.
Oh.
I'm good. I know that even from Qatar last season, having the wet quali, I was setting a really strong pace early in quali when it was raining, and then as soon as it turned to wet in the race, me and Gaza were just hunting down Joe. So
do you know why that you're better in the dry? In the wet? Sorry. Compared to the dry, do you think it's the fact that you don't have much opportunity to practice compared to the other drivers, and then the wet weather is a bit of a leveler, or do you think it's your car control? What do you think? What do you consider to be your reason why you're so good in the rain?
I think it's just my general driving style. To be honest, it suits the wet more than it does the dry. I couldn't tell you why. It's just how it is. I think it's not that I'm more cautious. I think it's just the way that I drive. It just suits the wet more.
Woo.
Nice. Well, best of luck for this evening, Quinn. I hope you have a great result, and I will hand you over to the wonderful Jessica Ball.
I do have one question though. Where do you think you will finish tonight?
Well, there's two answers to this.
Depending on the weather.
In the dry, depending on the weather. in the dry, I will say I'm confident in the top 6.
Yeah, that
And I'm
sounds
just
sensible.
going to go out and say if it's wet, I'm winning.
Yes, Quinn.
Yeah, I like that.
I love
Nice, Quinn.
that. Honestly,
Nice.
that happens. That will be amazing because I don't think you've picked up a one hub win in a while. So I think for all of our sake, we're hoping for a wet race so Quinn can go and take the dub. So Quinn, best of luck for tonight, and I hope you can get a good result for you and your team in general because we want to see you climb up the order. So good luck, Quinn.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
I
luck, mate.
just want to say one more thing. You should watch out for Mike today. He's had his Weetabix. He's going to be on the charge.
He's going to be on it.
I don't like Weetabix too, mate. Anyway.
I'll see you guys later. Good luck for your races today.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Quinn.
Bye.
Take care. Right, let's move on to the P2 tier. And, of course, we've got, I think, one new driver in this, but it hasn't been updated in the graphics yet. So we've got a full grid in the P2 tier, which is always great to see, including a certain Mr. Chris, who has been demoted from P1 to P2. Originally, he was in P1 because of timings, but he said to us, look, I'm struggling in P1. Is there space in P2? And he didn't mind if there isn't. So he was very nice about it. He wanted to give P1 a go. He was struggling a little bit, and he was like, I tried P1 and it didn't work, so he's in P2. I like those kind of drivers, actually. We had the same with Max this season, and also with Robin Proverb last season. We gave them the option to demote them, and they were like, no, I want to have a chance for the next few races to race in, like, say, P2 and see how I can do. And then after a few races, they're like, no, actually, I think you're right. I think I should be demoted. And that's what happened last season. So, yeah, good to see Chris actually being honest. He wanted to have a go. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But there we go. So that's going to be very, very exciting to see how Chris could do here. He's going to be a threat, I'd say, in P2.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, so Chris approached myself, and he was so nice about it as well. It wasn't like, oh, I need to be in P2. It was like, Cole, I know I'm being a pain, but if a space opens up in P2, is it possible that I can move down? I'm really struggling. His timings are a little bit better now for him to be able to join P2 as well. But he really wanted to give P1 a go and tried his damnedest. But the management agreed that he would be a better fit into P2 as well. And I think he's going to do very, very well in this tier now. It might take him a little bit of a while to get used to battling near the front and having that confidence of leading or, fighting for podiums again, but it won't take him long.
No, I don't think it will take a while. There's a lot of quick drivers around here, and I think he could get up to speed very quickly. And we do have a new driver in the P2 tier. Again, the lineups haven't been updated because we are starting a bit later, but we have got in the
Because Lucky's
Haas.
too slow.
We've got Rowan in the Haas, also known as AKX Row. Obviously, we have no idea his pace in the P2 tier, so we don't know how well he's going to do, and it's hard to adjust to a new league if you're joining mid-season, but welcome. But that does mean, Cole, the P2 tier is now full.
Yeah, isn't that brilliant? So full 20 drivers, all fighting it out into turn one. It's going to be brilliant. And I love this tier, I got to be honest. I think it's absolutely brilliant. There's so many good drivers in here. There are so many drivers here who have been in One Hub for so long as well. Larkin, Cam, Papa Squanch, Salo's been here many seasons now.
Lukey,
Waitsy,
of
obviously
course.
Lukey, right from the beginning. Chris as well. Jonas, Lawrence, Rich. These guys have been with us for so long now. And it's going to, these drivers know each other so well. They know where their strengths are. They know where their weaknesses are as well. But I'm just looking at the chat. When I said Lukey was slow, I meant updating the graphic, Mike, not like slow round the track.
yeah. But to be fair, it was a little bit short notice. To be fair, that we were going to start at 10 a.m. today, so let him have his sleep, okay? But anyway, last week in Austria was a very good race. We saw Jacob pick up the win. It was quite a close victory. Kine was up there, Papa Squanch, Mokri, Salau. He was very unlucky. Unfortunately, he's got a 3-place grid penalty for today. Larkin was up there. There were plenty of drivers that were up there. Even Lukey had a decent result last week. It's just a tier where you just can't call it each and every week. But again, I would usually know come 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. when we do these talk shows, yeah, this driver's going to get the win today, I think. I haven't seen these guys practice, so I have no idea.
Yeah, so looking at the last 2 races, if Lukey can improve his qualifying, he's going to be right up there. So he's had quite a poor couple of qualifying sessions by his standard, and he'd be the first to admit it as well. And he's kind of had to play catch up. Still got 2 great results and 2 great recovery drives, but if he can just nail his qualifying, he's going to be fighting for the win.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, of course, Lukey's good in the wet, so he's going to hope that it's going to be raining today here in Australia, but he's generally good in the dry as well. Of course, Cam is good in the wet as well, so we expect to see him up there. And there's plenty of other drivers that have had bad luck that could really get up there. Lawrence, I have to say, was very unlucky last time out. So we hope that he can climb himself up there as well. Of course, a fellow commentator too. So we have to rep the commentators. We've got commentators in every tier racing, apart from P1, because I don't think we have anyone for... hold on, we have Colin, but he doesn't commentate anymore because he's an idiot. Joking. But anyway, let's get our top 3s. We've already got some top 3s in the chat, so we will go through those. Mike is saying Papa wins, Larkin second, Salau third. That is a very smart move, but I'm going to go with my punt for pole position now. I think it's going to be Larkin that's going to get pole position.
Ooh.
I always like to go bowl for pole, but that's probably not going to happen now. And I'm going to also go for Papa Squanch victory, a Jacob second, and I'm going to go for Mokri in third. Go on, Carl, what's your prediction?
Ooh. Okay, so my pole position is going to go to the Williams driver of Kine. So I think Kine's going to get pole position. Now, if it's dry, I'm thinking a Larkin win, Mokri in second, and Papa Squanch in third. If it's dry, I'm going to go with a Cam win. If it's wet, sorry, I'm going to go with a Cam victory.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind a Cam victory if it's wet, to be honest. That because he's a demon in the wet, let's just say. But obviously, we still yet to see how the new drivers will do. Zonto, hopefully, you'll get some much better luck. Same with Nicholas as well. There's one thing I forgot to mention. There has been some people that have been naughty boys, so they have got some penalties, grid penalties. So for P2, Waitsy have got 15-place grid penalty. I can't remember why, but I'm sure Colin can shed some light in a minute. And Salau has got 3 places because of his incident in last week in Austria. So those 2 have got grid penalties and P2. And of course, Jason has got 3 places for P3 for blocking Quinn in qualifying.
Yeah, so Waitsy got 15-place grid penalty as the stewards deemed him at fault for causing the incident between, I think it was Lawrence and, I want to say Nicholas. I think it was Nicholas. Oh, no, I think it might have been Seco, actually. But that was the incident that actually brought out the red flag as well. Yeah. So that's the reason why Waitsy has a 15-place grid penalty.
Okay, so that explains it. Of course, we're not going to give away about the carware penalties yet, but yeah, just to let you know, those were the grid penalties for round 3. But we have no grid penalties for P4 and P1, so that is good news if you're in those tiers, that no one has got grid penalties. But of course, a few drivers in those tiers have got carware penalties, but we'll go through that a little bit later on. Let's move on to talk about the P1 tier, which I always find so exciting to commentate on every single week. It's just a lot of fun to cover. We've got new drivers in there now. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head who's new, but we got a full grid. We've got a Lasse Stroll that's in there. I'm just trying to remember what name he's got. I think he's going to be in the Aston Martin alongside Axelot. And honestly, the battle we saw between Marco and Kevin last week was really, really great to see. Of course, they were called up in the rivalries, and let's bring the rivalries up on my screen if I can find it with P1. Of course, Kevin doing a lot better in qualifying, but both drivers picking up a win and 2 podiums, and they're tied on points, Colin. This is going to get a rivalry that's going to get even more heated, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. It's just too difficult to call at this stage, isn't it? Kevin yet to get a victory. However, he has had 2 second places.
No, I think he has got a victory. I don't know. No, he hasn't. Never mind. It was Alex who got one last week. Never mind. I always get confused because of stats, but carry on, Carl.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, 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 very close. I mean, it's so close between the top 3, it's ridiculous. There's 1 point covering the 3 of them. I know we're only a couple of races in, but even so. And you can see the stats there between Kevin and Marco. Very, very close, both with 2 podiums, drawing on race results. You feel as though this title is starting to become between the top 3. But anything can change. One bad result out of those drivers, and they're going to plummet down the order. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the drivers cope with the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Callum Unarmed could be up there. He got 3rd and 4th place in the first 2 rounds, so he could be up there as well. Alex 1 point behind Marco and Kevin, because Alex took the win last week, very well deserved win. He did get the Sim Racing Setups Driver of the Day, I believe, for P1, so brilliant job for him. But top 4 to keep an eye on. Our newest driver, Logan, had a lot better race last time out in the P1 tier. A 5th place, which I have to say was very impressive. It noticed me, myself and Jamie. Jamie picked him for Driver of the Day, and he is definitely improving, and quite a lot of drivers I've been speaking to saying that he is a quick driver. So great to see him finally get some luck, and I think I won't be surprised if any of the top 3 have some bad luck if he can sneak a podium or 2.
Yeah, exactly that. But this tier is so strong. Myself, Axelot, J. Colin, Senna, we were talking last week. It's one of the strongest P1s that I can ever remember. We've had drivers in the past where they, the odd 1 or 2 drivers, and they are rapid. But this tier, like me getting 11th place last week and getting a couple of points.
Felt like a win.
Felt like getting a podium. Because this tier is so strong. And the drivers, they don't make mistakes. So there's no safety cars or anything. If you've got to be on it all the time. To be blunt, if you haven't got a safety car to save you if you make a mistake either. So it's all about maximizing each lap, maximizing the strategy. It's a lot of fun, this tier, but it's so difficult.
It's fun to commentate on as well with Jamie. I always have fun commentating on this tier every single week, and it's always fun to watch, and you never know who could do well. There's quite a few drivers that, of course, were unlucky, but they've got plenty of opportunities to work their way through. Of course, Senna, even though he's only scored the 7th and the 9th place, he says that he really enjoys being in this tier because he can get better and try and improve, which is always very lovely to see. And we appreciate Senna's comments, and we're really glad that Senna enjoys being in the P1 tier. And Morgan Moggs has actually made a good point, actually, and I'll read what he was saying in the chat, saying Colin said to Morgan at the beginning of the season that small mistakes will feel bigger in his tier than in P2, and he now knows exactly what you mean, Carl. And yeah, I've got to agree with that one.
Yes, I mean, to be honest, I made a very, very small mistake in Spain where I run wide on lap 1 and lost a couple of places. And that cost me points. Now, normally that wouldn't make that much difference.
In any other tier?
Yeah, in any other tier, you know, you'd have time and thing to come back. But in this tier, it makes such a difference. And one thing that I'm going to take away from this season, and I think Morgan will as well, is that we will be far better drivers at the end of this season than we were before, because we are forced into doing it almost. You know, we're not looking for, you know,
wins,
tenths. We're looking for hundredths, you know, to make a difference. And it's about maximizing each lap and making sure that there are 0 mistakes. You can't afford one, or, you know, Axlock last week got completely knackered by something completely out of his control. And that was pretty much the end of his race. And this is how difficult this tier is. But incredibly competitive, and it's still so close. I mean, just for an example, if I went a 10th quicker last week, I would have gained 5 places on the grid, which is astonishing.
It is incredible. I think P3 was quite close as well. Like, if you were a 10th or 2 quicker, that would put you a few places up on the grid as well. Quite a lot of tiers are quite close. And for those of you that want advice about tier movement, because we introduced a rule this season that if someone in a tier is like so much quicker than everybody else in the race, like we saw with Adit in round 2, then we had no choice but to move them up. And you could be a paddy like Adit and just throw a strop and be like, oh, why are you doing this? I will lose points. Or you could be like Morgan
Exactly.
and Colin and be like, right, I'm in a higher tier than expected. That gives me a chance to learn from quick drivers, learn what they do, and you will become a better driver because of it. And honestly, if it comes to a situation where I have to move up, I would move up 100%, because then I can learn from much better drivers and be a quicker driver as a result. That's what happened to me last season. There were some races where I felt like I was out of my league, but I learned so much. I was able to practice more with the quicker drivers. I was able to see what they were doing right and I was doing wrong, and that helped me get better. So if you ever get a chance to move up, please do it, and don't just feel it as a way of punishing you. It is actually rewarding you for doing well, to saying, hey, you're one of the best drivers in the league. We want to reward you by moving up. Yes, you won't get a chance for a championship, but most people, including myself and you, Cole, are not just here for championships. We're here for the fun of it. And if there are some people that are just there for glory hunting, then I'm afraid that's not the league for you. If you just want to win championships, again, that's not the league for you. Just join PSGL or WR or something. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Carl?
But I already had great respect for Morgan last season. But his attitude and approach to racing this season has just rocketed that opinion for me. And
that's your opinion.
Yeah, and this is, you know, Morgan encapsulates what One Hub is all about. You know, yes, we are all competitive as hell. You know, I want to make sure that I beat Morgan every day, week in, week out, and he'll be going, I want to beat Cole week in, week out. And that goes for every driver on the grid. But, you know, he's gone from fighting from race wins in P2 to fighting for the lower points with myself. and his attitude has been tremendous. If any driver wants to get in my good books, just watch Morgan.
Yeah, just watch Morgan, because even though he said last week he didn't have a good race, he is still enjoying P1, which is really great to see. And don't forget, he only started league racing on this game. Like, he started off as a midfield driver in round 1. I have to say, I've got to admit, he was a midfield driver at round 1, and then he improved race after race. He picked up wins after wins. So just please, whatever you do, if you're in a higher tier, just say, don't be like, I'm in a higher tier now, I'm not going to practice. That gives you the reason to practice. If you're in a higher tier, just please practice. Just don't put off by putting any practicing, because we noticed last season people that have moved up people that have been demoted are suddenly they're practicing more and more, but that's because they're just hungry. We don't want that. We want you to practice no matter what. We've been talking about this a long time.
One thing I'd like to quickly add as well is that I've got a spreadsheet, and if anyone wants my blank spreadsheet for them to fill in their data, you're more than welcome, and I'll send it to you. Just give me a DM. And I do it for my father as well. But just to give you an example of how I work out a season, so P1 for me is a badge of honor, yeah? And if I get in P1, I have already beaten 60 drivers.
Yeah.
And that is how my spreadsheet works. So at the moment, I think I'm sitting 13th in the championship, and I'm not 13th out of 20. I am 13th out of 80 drivers.
Which is honestly insane. Honestly insane.
Yeah.
And that's why also the rankings is quite a good idea as well,
Exactly,
because it looks at the consistency. And at the end of the season, I'm going to be revealing something really special that Cam's been putting together this season, but I'm not going to reveal too much secrets. But we've been looking at every week, Cole, and how he puts all those stats together is incredible. And we're not going to give too much away because Cam will kill me. But yeah, massive shout out to Cam, by the way. His stats collection is absolutely incredible. And Welsh Benjamin said he's glad to finally be on the rankings. I'm almost there. I'm like 21st or 22nd now after getting a good result in Austria. I'm almost there. I want to be in the top 20, but there we go. We talked enough about tier movement, and we talked about P1. Did we end up predicting P1 in the end? I can't remember. I don't think we... No, we didn't. Okay, let's go back to P1, Cole. Pole and top 3.
Right, so I'm going to go with my pole position. I think Kevin's going to get pole. My top 3, I'm going to go with Marco in first.
Smart.
Kevin in second. And I'm going to go with Callum Unarmed getting his first podium of the season in third to get a nice Welsh podium on St. David's Day.
Happy St. David's Day to all you Welsh people. Callum did get a podium in Spain, by the way. He got P3.
Oh, sorry, Cal.
But anyway, I'm going to predict a Kevin pole position again. I'm going to go with Marco and Kevin P1 and P2, and I'm going to go with Alex P3, just to be on the safe side a little bit. So that is my predictions. You can catch myself and Jamie on at 7:30 p.m. UK, and both of us will probably be in a very good mood because we probably would have had good races, or we would probably be in a rubbish mood and hopefully P1 can cheer us up a little bit, which is probably going to be more likely more than anything for me. But we'll see. But we've done all the lineups, but we still got 2 more things to mention, including car wear penalties, because Carl, we have got, let me just count how many drivers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers out of 78 drivers who have got engine or gearbox penalties, and we got at least 1 from each tier, which is quite exciting. So Colin, I'm going to hand it over to you. Who is Lovely. Taking and being very brave to be one of the first people in their tier to be taking an engine penalty?
So I will start with P1, and we have one driver taking an engine penalty. Don't forget, engine is 10 places and gearbox is 5. And Alex is taking his engine penalty at Australia. So quite early for a P1 driver, but he feels as that's the best plan. In P2, there are two drivers, both taking engine penalties. That is Rich 500 and Waitsy. So that means that Waitsy will definitely be starting last this evening. In P3, we've also got two drivers. Now, Joe has decided to take his gearbox today, and Marshall is taking his gearbox as well. So both those drivers will be taking 5-place grid penalties. In P4, now this one surprised me, Jamie taking his engine penalty quite early on. And Crawford also taking a gearbox. So that is all our drivers taking car wear penalties. Just remember, every driver, even if you started the season late, every driver must take an engine and a gearbox penalty, and you cannot do it at the same track. So just remember that, because the last thing we want to do is
give out points deductions.
Any points deductions, for drivers giving out. I think we did have a couple last year, unfortunately, with drivers who forgot to take their engine penalty. So just remember, this is, you can see the graphic that Lukey has made. That tells you how many laps you've got left on each engine.
And we need to correct Nicholas's, because it says that he's done a race and he's done a race, and it still says he's got a full wear on his engine.
Look into that.
Yeah, we'll look into that for you, Nicholas. Do not worry. I know you've done at least 2 races, and it's still saying you got engine. Never mind. We will sort that out for you, Nicholas. You're welcome. But yes.
Yeah, we'll sort that out, mate.
And don't forget, if you
should have stayed quiet.
Yeah, but don't forget, if you run out of laps on your engine and gearbox, you'll DNF from that race. You'll get disqualified pretty much. So say if there was say we go to I'm going to say Las Vegas in round, I think it's Las Vegas round 10, or is it Miami? One of the two. If we go to a US track round 10 and you got 20 laps on your engine, if you just be like, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to do that. After 20 laps, the last 9 laps are going to be meaningless, and you'll DNF at the end, which sucks. And that means you'll keep DNFing until you take that engine and gearbox penalty. You must take it by, if you complete every race, you must take it by round 10. Round 10 is, we worked it out, that's how long an engine could last, 10 races. If we see people who come to the final race and who hasn't taken both penalties, then their head's gonna go off the chopping block. So yeah, make sure you do this. Otherwise, it's not going to just affect you as a driver. It's going to affect your teammate. It's going to affect the Constructors' Championship. Yeah, one race for Nicholas. Okay, never mind. We will sort it out for you.
We'll sort that out, Nick. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're all good. But I know it's the moment you've all been waiting for, guys, and thank you for waiting patiently. It is, what's going to be the weather for Australia? Will we finally get some wet races or wet qualifyings in Australia, or will it still be dry? It will be different for the commentators if we have a wet defective session, because at least it gets out of the way. So Colin, as usual, reveal on how it's going to work, because we've got quite a few new drivers this week.
Yeah, so here at OneHub we use an adaptive weather system. So we have various scenarios of weather, each for the qualifying session and for the race session. They can vary from clear to overcast to light rain and to heavy rain. Each scenario then, when it's used, is removed from the selection, and then each week we use a random wheel that Jess uses, that determines the weather for that qualifying session and for that race. I think it means there'll be around 4 or 5 wet affected qualifying and race sessions.
4.
4, is it? There we are. So 4. We haven't had any as of yet, but obviously the chances now are getting higher and higher each week. And so I will now hand over to Jess, and she will get the Wheel of Truth up, and we'll see what weather we're going to get tonight.
Honestly, the good thing about the last couple of seasons is I don't even know what the weather's going to be, so which gives an even playing field to all drivers. So yes, I only know what the weather's going to be at the same time as you, which is going to be very exciting. So we're going to start with qualifying now. Colin, what do you think quali is going to be? I'm hoping for a wet to dry quali. What about you, Carl?
Well, the chat says Quinn might get knocked out by Colin if it rains. There's no if. To be honest, this is probably the only circuit that I'm desperate for dry, which means it's bound to rain.
Yeah, I want it to be a dry race and a wet to dry quali, but it's probably not going to happen now. I bet it was going to be a dry qualifying and a wet to dry race, knowing me. Which, if that happens, I'm just going to... I've got some stress balls lying up there, so I'm just going to squeeze one and say, oh, Quinn, it's your fault. So, yeah, if we get a wet-affected race, it's Quinn's fault. But there we go. So, without further ado, let's reveal the weather for qualifying. So, here we go, people. It's going to be wet to dry, 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 wet to dry. Oh, it's getting there. Oh, is it going to be wet to dry? Oh, it's just unclear, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't get my wish, Sally, unfortunately. But I think everyone else in the chat, apart from myself and Quinn, are very happy with that. But I'm not. I'm gutted, because that would have spiced things up. We could have had... drivers had to be very strategic, but no, it's going to be a boring qualifying with just clear everywhere. So, that's a bit frustrating. But you must be delighted, Carl.
I am relieved, but I'm more focused on the race, to be honest. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see on what's it going to be then. Oh, Larkin every week, won't it work? So, decision's final. So, let's get the wheel for the race then. So, as you can see, what's going to happen then? Is it going to be a wet to dry race, as Quinn and Larkin is hoping? No, it's clear cut this time. It's going to be clear race. Clear race, and Colin could just breathe a sigh of relief on his chair. Oh.
And breathe.
Well, it makes it easier for me to put on the tweet. So, yeah.
That's true, yeah, that is.
Colin
Nick did
rigged
retire for this.
Colin rigged the wheel. Yes, I think he rigged the quali wheel. I'm almost certain about that. He just wanted a dry qualifying, for goodness sake. But no, we're only joking.
I used my Welsh wizardry to influence the wheel.
So there we go. But that is your weather then. And we will be doing a practice at 1 p.m. UK time. We'll still need to find a host for that, because I'm more than likely going to be having some food at 1 o'clock. So we will need to find a host for that. There will be a... what do you call it? A check-in for that. So if you are interested in joining, please let us know. Random wheel. Oh, Nicholas. We do have specified combinations, and every combination always has a bit of dry in it. So we're not going to have a fully wet race or a fully inters race.
Because they're usually dull.
Yeah, they're boring. So every race has at least dry in them, whether it's at the start or the end of the race, which is probably a relief for everybody. But let's go through our sponsors before we wrap up and say our final words. First of all, our title sponsors, Delta.app. And if you are over 18, you can make smart decisions like the world top investor and track your journey to success with Delta. You can get the app for free if you type !Delta in the chat. You can click the link in the chat. Or if you are on YouTube and watching this back on YouTube, you can check out the link in the description. So there we go. And by the way, with the reason why we're skipping the 15th of March for a break great week is because it's Mother's Day in the UK. Just saying. But anyway, we're moving on to our next sponsor, Next Level Racing. These are the prizes that we could be giving our drivers, but that's still to be confirmed. Sim Racing Setups, you get 5% off all setups by using the code OneHubRacing at checkout, and they provide lots of esports, safe setups, they provide strategies, they provide wet setups as well. So there we go. So that is that there. And also the winners of the Sim Racing Setups Driver of the Day each week will win a £10 voucher. I'll be getting one very soon and I'm buzzing about that. We also got Pure Sim Gear. You get 10% off by using the code OHR10P at checkout to get some gloves, all sorts. I'm thinking about getting some myself because I literally just got paid, so I'm going to be using some of that money to go towards that. And there's also the Speedster Awards for the combined fastest laps and poles, and I do believe we already got a definite winner so far. I'm not going to name names, but who hasn't got 2 poles in a row? We'll have to wait and see on that one, but they're not in the league anymore anyway, so go to someone else. Anyway, and our partners, Vespertine, supporting our championship apparel and sorting out the payment system and providing some prizes. And finally, to our partners at SimGrid. Without SimGrid, we'll be filling out Google Forms and spreadsheets, and it'll be an absolute nightmare. So, before you go and have your lovely food, Colin, which, by the way, have a lovely time on to David's Day, any final thoughts?
Diolch. Well, just best of luck to everyone. We all know now it's nice and dry, so practice your qualifying. Have a little look on the Sim Racing Setups website, and then they'll give you advice on where to use your ERS in qualifying as well, because that will gain you a ton of time. So head over to the website, have a little look, and I will see you all this evening. Best of luck, everyone.
So the first stream then will be at 3 p.m. UK time with Evil Dragon and Papa Squatch in the commentary box. Then we got Lawrence in P3 comms at 4:30. At 6 p.m. we've got Ira Brim, Mike and Ivan in P2 comms. And at 7:30 we have got myself and Jamie doing P1 comms. So best of luck to all drivers. You can now go and get practicing. You're welcome. You can thank Colin for an extra hour of practice. So that should help the P4 drivers actually. So you're welcome, P4. So just a reminder, because I know some of you have just joined the stream thinking it starts now. No, we've already started because Colin has to go very soon. But we have got clear qualifying, clear race. That will pretty much end the
Super
stream
duper.
there. So super duper. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 3 p.m. for the first stream. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye all.